Gungriffon Blaze.
When you think of mech games, what usually comes to mind? Armored Core, Mobile Suit Gundam, Earthsiege, or more recently, Titanfall. But there's also a lesser-known franchise that was just as amazing, Gungriffon. Beginning as a series on the Sega Saturn with parts 1 and 2, then migrating onto the PS2 with Gungriffon Blaze in 2000, and ending on the Xbox 4 years later with Allied Strike. Now, good luck finding the first two games. They were released for the Saturn, perhaps the most expensive retro console to ever collect for. Your best bet is to stick to the titles that were released on the PS2 and Xbox. If you want a slightly more in-depth mech simulator, then consider Allied Strike. But if it's a high-octane, arcade-style shooter that you're looking for, then Gungriffon Blaze is right up your alley. And that's the title that we're going to be looking at today. And right out of the gate, this game doesn't waste your time. You create your pilot, select your mission, pick your unit, load it up with weapons and items, and you're immediately thrown into the action, where your goal is to complete all the mission objectives before the timer runs out. There are 6 of them in total if you count the training stage, each one with increasing difficulty. You begin with the High Max, a decent all-rounder unit that can pretty much handle any situation. But as you play through the game, you earn medals, which in turn unlocks new mechs. Each of these units do have different capabilities, which you will have to utilize as you play along. For example, the Type 9 is a sniper unit and is perfect for missions 2 and 6, as those enemies have some very strong weapons that are best taken care of from afar. But it's a notoriously slow unit that can't roller dash or jump, and is a terrible choice for missions like 3 and 4, where you have to defend Allied forces. Those levels are best for the Jagged Panther, a high-speed unit that is perfect for dogfighting and covering defensive positions. But that's just as far as I got. There's about 5 or 6 units in total that you can unlock as you play the game. As I stated before, the gameplay is an arcade-style first-person shooter. In addition to completing mission objectives, you should also destroy as much of the environment as possible, as this will reveal a bunch of useful pickups, such as health and ammo packs, as well as extra points and debuffs for enemies. Hostile units might cough these up after they're destroyed as well. The game also gives you help in the form of computer-controlled allied units. I won't say that their AIs are the brightest bulbs in the shed, but they will competently assist you in battle and will attack enemy units with extreme prejudice. You lose points when they're destroyed though, so try to keep them alive as best as you can. There's even some instances where you have to protect them or you fail the mission. The controls are some of the best on the PS2, utilizing nearly every button on the controller as well as offering tight and responsive inputs. And although not perfect, it was some of the best that 3D gaming had to offer at the time. The final thing to discuss is the soundtrack. Each song is arcadey, upbeat, and toe-tap inducing. Very fitting for the action-packed content within the levels, especially the song that plays during the intro, which is why I had to include it at the beginning of this review. It was just too good. But interestingly enough, the game slows down to a sombering vibe when browsing the main menu. And that wraps up another episode of XVGN. I want to end the review with, the PS2's launch lineup was the best that had ever been. It will likely never be duplicated ever again, and it was rivaled only by the Dreamcast. What a time it was to be alive. Cheers.